Thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about how to build a responsive Google form. The first steps that you'll need are to set up an old quiz and get it ready. Multiple choice works best. Here's an old quiz. And I'm going to choose questions that are different from each other. So I have 4 kind of different questions because you want to test out that they know how to add 2 negatives, add a positive and a negative, and switch up which one's larger and maybe a larger problem. I'm going to go create a new form. Forms.google.com will take you right to Forms. Then you hit the plus sign, and then you can actually get the blank form is going to be untitled by default. And if you click on the words untitled form, then you're able to add whatever you want the title to be. In this case, it's adding integers. Now you're going to go to settings. We want to make sure that you have certain settings. I would recommend first of all, when you go to settings, it's the little sprocket up in the corner. I would make sure to collect emails and restrict it to Virginia Beach counts as well. When you go to settings again for presentations, I would make sure to not check the shuffle question order. You don't want to do that. You can show the progress bar if you want. And you can let them submit another response if you want. And I would always change the confirmation message to reflect what you're doing, which is, you thank them for taking your quiz and maybe give them some sort of message that's relevant to what they're doing next. The first section should always be your demographics section. The demographics section will have their name. I separate first name and last name. There's a strategy behind that. I also would like to know the section that they're in. If you can add that as a part of the demographics as well. In the next sections, this is where it gets a little bit more complex, but for every question that you want to use in your responsive Google form, you need to add 3 sections. One section is for the question itself, one is for the remediation or the response, which will contain remediation. And then the final one is for the retry. So you're going to ask them a question. If they get it wrong, then you're going to have some sort of a response for them. And if they then are ready to have a retry, it's a similar question, not exactly the same, but very similar. And then move on to question 2. So I would build all those sections out. And then in the section is where you add your questions. So we have question 1. I'm going to add that in. You can type in the responses in whatever order you see fit. You can even shuffle the response order if you want, but I would just keep it the same. And then question 1 retry should be a very similar question. I'm going to go ahead and add that in here. And again, you can mix up the sequence of the responses a little bit if you want. And then we have the actual response itself. The Q1 response is going to be where I will branch students to if they get Q1 wrong. They'll go here, and then I'm going to put a video in here you'll see from Khan Academy that is going to address the error that they made, hopefully. You could have anywhere, really short videos, or you could just have a picture in there if that's enough to clarify what they did wrong. You could do like one example, you could just paste in the text explaining what they did wrong. All right, now we're going to look at the branching. So I have Q1, and I need to, this is important, go to a section based on the response. So I'm going to go to section 3, which is the Q1 response for any of them that are wrong. I'm going to go to section 5, which happens to be the next question, question 2, if they get it right. And then the response itself, the remediation part, should always go back to the retry. So I go to Q1 retry here, and then it'll give them their second chance. And then I'm going to branch the Q1 retry If they get it correct, we'll go directly to Q2. If they get it incorrect, then we'll go back to the remediation, which is the response, Q1 response. Okay, you should be able to repeat that process for Q2, Q3, Q4. So for each one, you're going to be adding your question, the question response in case they get it wrong, and then the questions retry. Once you've got all your sections and questions, now you can go back and get this set up as a quiz. I'm going to turn this into a quiz by clicking that button, make this a quiz. You can decide what you want to do in terms of allowing multiple responses, allowing them to see the results and so on. This is where I designate the correct answer with a green dot and give 3 points for the original first try and 2 points for the retry. The quiz just gets sent just like any other Google form by a link, or you can put it in Google Classroom. Don't forget to create a sheet so you can view your responses. You'll want to be able to do that. That's it. That's how you create a responsive Google form. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter, OLHS Help. That's our Student Help Desk Twitter handle. Thank you.